I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in the Sangha. I take refuge in the Dharma. This class we are going to talk about the Indian history. It is related to the origination of Buddhism. It can be divided into 8 periods. The first one is the historical period. From many thousands years ago until 3,300 before the Common Era. The second period is called the Bronze Age. It's from 3,300 to 1,800 before the Common Era. It is the first urbanization of the Indian culture. It is called the Indus Valley Civilization, which is actually inside in the present-day Pakistan. It also has a very colorful pottery culture. The third period is called the Iron Age. It's from 1,500 to 200 before the Common Era. It can divide into 2 parts. The first part is called the Vedic period, which is from 1,500 to 600 before the Common Era. And the Aryan race is migrated from the Middle East into India through the Katra Pass, which is in the northwest of India. It's a very narrow path and it's very important to the communication between India and the outside world. It developed into this Buddhist culture and the caste system, and later into the Brahmin culture. The language is a mixture of Sanskrit, Persian, and the Greek language, and it's a collection of city-states and republics. The second part of Iron Age is the second urbanization from 600 to 200 before the Common Era. It is the Brahmin movement, which is an antithesis to the Brahmin culture. Especially, it developed into the 2 very important religions, Jainism and Buddhism. There were about 16 powerful city-states, which later combined into 4 major ones by the time the Buddha was born. The Buddha is a contemporary with the Magadha kingdom, whose king is called Bimbisara, and his son Prince Vajrayana. They are always mentioned in the Buddha journal and his God, and is recorded in the Buddha scripture. He lived much of his life in the Magadha kingdom. He attained enlightenment in the Buddha Gaya and gave his first sermon in silence, or the deer, or we call the deer park. And the first Buddhist council is held in Rajagaya. Later, Alexander the Great has an Indian campaign. The Greeks and India fought a battle in 327 before the Common Era. Later on, there's a Mura Empire around 250 before the Common Era. This is very important because one of his emperors, King Asoka, is a key protector of Buddhism, and he promotes Buddhism all over the world. And so far, the culture is developed in the northern part of India. At the same time, in the south, there is the Tamil culture. The fourth period is called the classical and the early medieval period, from 200 before the Common Era to 1200. And it can be divided into three parts. The first part is the early classical period, which is about 200 before the Common Era to 320. And it is mainly characterized by the spice and the incense trade. And Buddhism is spread into China via the Silk Road. The second part is the classical period, which is characterized by the Buddha Empire from 320 to 650. And it is characterized by the cultural creativity. The third part is the early medieval period. It's from the mid-6th century to 1200. And this is the period that signifies the decline of Buddhism in India and the rise of Hinduism and the invasion of Islam and the conversion of stupa, the Buddhist stupa, into a mosque. The fifth period is the late medieval period, from 1200 to 1526. There are repeated invasions of the Islam from the Middle East and Central Asia into India. And there is many sultans, including the Ghali Sultan, the Bengal Sultan, the Bahami Sultan, and many other sultans. And they are signified by military technology. In the sixth period is the early modern period, from 1526 to 1858. During this period, there rise and fall of the Mongol Empire, which inherit from the previous resonance of economy expansion and related weaponry technology. They are relatively peaceful in this period. Art are patronized, and there is a synthesis of the Indian and Iranian architecture and culture. At the same time, the British East India Company is born in 1600 in India. The seventh period is called the modern period, from 1858 to 1947. The East Indian Company is now developed into the whole of India, and the British monarch take over and rule India directly. And during the same period, experienced World War I and World War II. The last period is the independence and participation. The partition of India after the independence in 1947 into many different states. Under the British rule, they are unified as one big empire, which is the first time India becomes a unified country. And after the independence, It split into Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and Pacific. And this is a very brief history of India. I take refuge in the Buddha. I take refuge in Ganga. I take refuge in the Dhamma.